Hello everyone, I'm back and I wanted to assemble the two dolls with you guys like I said I would, and I even cut out all the pieces. I pre-folded everything so that it would be easier to glue, but I actually recorded it. I recorded this one, the white one, and it took an hour and a half. Not because it was like terribly difficult, but because the pieces are small and it took time for every little piece to dry, like glue together and dry a little bit before you can move on. And there are a lot of little pieces, so it just took a really long time, and I didn't want to take up that much time. So I figured that I would just go through some key points. If you haven't done it yet and you wanted some tips or anything, I thought I would just go through that. So I did cut everything out ahead of time, and as you can see, I folded everything as well. When I folded it, the little pieces are easier to fold than the longer tabs, like these. These longer tabs are a little bit more difficult to fold straight where the dotted line is. But it's not impossible. You just have to take your time. And I would recommend that you fold as close to the color as possible. Make sure that none of the white is showing. And after you fold it, if you have something straight, I have what's called a bone folder because of the crafting that I do. But anything straight, you can use like a tip of a pen or like the tip of a paintbrush or something, and lay it down flat and run it across the edge like that, just to give it a nice sharp edge. That way, like when you have to fold it later and glue it, it glues down much more easily. The white one, the white doll, is easier to cut because you can see the difference between the lines. So I'm not sure if you can see it here, but there's like a slight dotted line. Can you see that? Wait a minute. Is it in focus? There we go. There's a dotted line, and the dotted line is where you make the folds. There's a solid line, which you can't see because I cut all the solid lines. Solid line indicates where you cut. For the light colored, the white clown and the light colored pieces like this one, it's easy to see where the dotted lines and straight lines are. However, for the dark one, for the black, it's not quite as easy to see. They made the dotted lines a dark gray, which does not stand out very well against the black. So it's a little tricky to see it on the black. And some of them I noticed doesn't even have the line. So like this one, it needs to be folded here, but there's no black line. So I actually copied this one off of the white one. I looked at where the white one was folded and folded this one accordingly. And for the black, also for this, but for the black, just to make it a little bit easier for me to know where I need to cut it, this came together as one piece, right? It's like one sheet, and this tab needs to be cut. But when you're cutting, if you're not paying close attention, you can't tell if it should be cut on this side or cut on this side. But I think this is why they made the heart. So wherever the bottom triangle of the heart is, that is where the cut goes. So it goes this way. So all the hearts are made that way. So like, this one is kind of big, so you can kind of guess that it's being folded there, but this one is much smaller. And there's some that are even smaller than this. But if it's together like this and you're cutting, you want to make sure that you cut next to the straight parts of the heart, where it makes the V of the heart. And yeah, so if you're not sure, you can just look at that, and that will help guide you as to where to cut. So I thought that was cute. That was a good idea. And then for this, the hand, the arm and the hand is very, very small. This one I had a lot of trouble with. Not the cutting. Well, the cutting was annoying too, but the folding especially, because the pieces are very, very small. And to have to cut to fold each of these pieces after they were cut, it was a little bit difficult. So I recommend that you fold this first, because this one, it's just a straight line, goes all the way across like this. So you fold this first in both sides, fold it, crease it, and then cut out all the little triangles. That will make it much easier to make sure you get a nice clean fold across all of them. So mine, some of them are a little bit crooked-ish. It's not like right here. Can you see it dips a little bit and then goes up where the next section is? And that's because I had cut everything and then folded it. But if you fold it first and then cut out all the little squares, you'll have a nice clean fold, which makes it easier and much nice looking when you glue it together. And then I left a few pieces. I glued most of it. So I glued the hat together, one arm, the shirt, his legs, his pants, one foot. But I wanted to glue some of the pieces together with you, because as I was doing it, some of it is a little bit tricky. If you have done crafting a lot in the past, if you have done a lot of gluing and things, it's not that difficult. But if it's your first time trying something like this, it can be kind of tricky. So you will need a glue. If you have a glue with a fine tip, that's much better to use. If you do not, I recommend that you have like a Q-tip, not a Q-tip, a toothpick or something nearby, so that you can wipe off excess glue, and like a paper towel or something. You will need to be careful about getting glue on your hands. So if you do get glue on your hands, you want to wipe it off or dry it off, and peel off the glue from time to time as much as possible. Because if you don't, as you're working with it, the glue will get stuck on the paper, and it'll leave like dark smudges and stuff, and it's not pretty. Okay, the reason I wanted to glue some of these with you is some of them are a little bit tricky. So the first piece, the first one that the instruction starts with is this head. Okay, I want to make sure I'm in camera. Should I zoom out a little? Oh, no, wrong way. Okay, I want to make sure I'm in camera. Okay, so it's this headpiece. It comes in two parts, this part, and you just glue them together to make this one big piece. And then you have to glue everything else together. But the way this works is the front and the back has angles. It looks like this, right? But this one does not. And so when you go down, you have to kind of mold this piece to fit the curve of this edge. And then likewise with the face, you have to curve this piece to mold this angle like that. So I just wanted to do that with you guys. The first time I tried it, I did the face first. I glued the face down like this first, and then did this. And I think that's a little bit harder. So what I recommend is that you glue this long strip in the middle to both sides of the head. So just hold it open, open all the tabs and hold it open, and then all the tabs on this side. So at the top and bottom there, also the top and bottom here, just add the glue to all the flaps, and then one at a time, get it as close as possible to the edge, and then hold it down. And so the reason why the needle point is really good is so that it doesn't get too much glue, because as you squeeze it, it will squeeze out. If you have your toothpick, you can take it and kind of run it across the glue to kind of smooth it out. If you do that, you do have to glue it quickly because it dries faster that way also, because it's a smaller layer, which actually is good too, as long as you don't have to move it around much. Okay, and then so you do each section where the fold is, and if you keep it lined up really well, by the time you get to the bottom one, it will match up on the edge perfectly, or close to perfect. So down here. So let me see. Right here, the color edge here and the color edge here should line up to make a right angle. And then you do that to the other side as well. So this is why it took long. It's not like really difficult, but you have to glue, hold, and there's a lot of these little tabs to do that too. But it's a fun project. I like it actually, and it's good for. This may sound bad, but it's good for like mindless work. If you have something that you're stressed about, worried about, this is a good craft, a good project to do to take your mind off of it, because you're so focused on making sure these line up and are glued properly, you can't really worry about other stuff. So I found myself when I was working on it, trying to figure out if it was the right way to glue things and whatnot, that I kind of forgot to talk. I'm not gonna upload that other video. It's way too long. Okay, so that side is done. So while I do this, I can talk a little bit, I guess, about stuff. A lot of things have been going on the past few weeks. I don't remember how much I talked about in the last video, to be honest. I don't think I talked about much, but JK, we all know JK is my favorite topic, right? Oh, I forgot to fold that part. This side's not folded. JK is in LA, and oh, did you guys see? Someone took his picture when he came out of a restaurant, and he looks so good with his short hair. I do love his long hair, and I do kind of miss his long hair now that it's short, but when he styles his short hair, oh, I love it. It's to die for. I probably shouldn't use that phrase. It's not a good phrase, but I do love his short hair. Oh, I didn't fold this side. I'm gonna fold it and put glue on it again. Yeah, he's in LA, and a couple days ago, was it? 2 days ago? It wasn't yesterday, was it? Oh man, my days are a bit of a blur, but I think it was 2 days ago. There was an announcement made that JK is going to perform at the Global Citizen Festival in New York. Oh, can you believe it? He's gonna be here again. I did not buy a ticket. There was no reason for me to. I don't participate in a lot of pretty much anything really, so it didn't really make sense for me to buy a ticket to that. So I wasn't even aware that the festival was going to happen. But it was announced that JK would be there, so then of course I want to go. So I did apply for the raffle tickets. I think it's a general admissions or something like that. I don't really know how that works, how everything works. I believe it's the general admission tickets that are being raffled by Global Citizen. So I applied for that, and hopefully I will find out on the 11th, I think it said. There's one raffle, announcement of raffle winners being made on the 11th, I believe. So hopefully I can get a ticket. Hopefully. I really don't know if I will though. But even if I do not get a ticket, even if I do not get a ticket, I do want to go to New York. And I was looking at the pictures. I was, debating if I need to purchase a very expensive resale ticket. They're ridiculously expensive. looked it up a little bit, and I mean, there's some people selling privately, and those I think are relatively decent, but the resale tickets, they're for VIP are between like $1,200 to like over $4,000. That is ridiculous. Not even a concert, guys. A festival, where he's headlining, which is awesome. So he's gonna be singing more than one song, but it's not a concert. You know, at most, like at Lollapalooza, J-Hope headlined and he sang for what, an hour? It's still pretty long, but yeah, I wonder how long the Global Citizen one will be. Okay, so here you have to kind of twist it a little bit, and then also down here, because it doesn't fit, right? So you have to kind of bend this down and push this in like this so that it matches, it lines up, and then hold that down and let it dry. And that will make the curve of the face. So things like this, matching up the lines where the curves are, this is what kind of takes a while to do. But yeah, it was not even 4,000, even 1,000 is just way too much for me to pay. So I had kind of resigned myself to not going. And then I saw pictures of the area of where the Global Citizen Festival is going to take place. I guess it's pictures of previous years, and it's an area that can hold up to 60,000 people. 60,000 people. Oh my goodness. That is a lot of people, and they're all just going to be standing, I believe standing, in a field. It's not a stadium type of place where you have like the raised seats. It is a field. And I just can't imagine me going and standing for who knows how many hours in a field. Maybe not a field. Oh, this came undone. Okay, you have to put more glue on that one. This is why you have to wait and hold it a little bit longer, because it comes undone with the glue until the glue is fully dry. Where was I? Oh, but yeah, in a lawn area with 60,000 people all gathered together, and unless you're in the very, very front with VIP tickets, you're not going to see him. You might hear him, you're not going to be able to see him. It's not like the stadium where everything is, what's that called? Like it doesn't have tiered seating, it's just, you know, flat. So if you've ever stood on flat ground, even if the stage is slightly elevated, you can't see people, you can't see above people. And so I'm not going to be able to see him. I will be able to hear him, hopefully. I'm hoping that the sound system will be good enough for that if I went. And so because of all of that, I was kind of resigned to not going. I decided I'm just gonna go to New York and go somewhere nearby and just listen to him if I can, hopefully. That's what I was planning on. But it's JK, guys. And you know, the more I saw like things coming up, popping up, the more tempted I was to cave. And then on certain sites, not on any ARMY sites, but on, is it Stray Kids? I think they're performing also. On their sites, a friend of mine told me that people are selling their ticket for face value, which is only $125. And so that made me kind of go, I want to go. It made me kind of crumble. So that's when I entered the raffle to get the general admission tickets, or whatever tickets they happen to be. And now I have to wait and see. So I might be going. I'll be going to New York, but I might be able to go in and sit at the raffle in the seats somewhere in that mass of 60,000 people and hear JK. I would love to like run into him when while he's in New York, but I highly doubt it. I thought about that last time I was in New York. Oh, it came undone again. The last time I was in New York, I thought about it. I thought maybe I should like walk around and maybe hopefully I can like run into him or see him, or coming out of a restaurant or something. But it occurred to me, I'm not into things that young people are into. Being an old person that I am, like even restaurants and stuff, I don't think I would eat at the same restaurants he eats at, or go sightseeing at the places that he would go see. So even if I were to go out and about, I would probably be like in the opposite ends of places that he would go to, and I would just get exhausted walking around. My best option, I think, is to find someone young to walk around with and just follow them. But that would be too tiring, I think. Okay, so yeah, that is how to make the head. That's how to get these curves and make the head look more like a head. And you do the same thing with the hat. The hat has the same, like for the face, the same curves. The side of the head has the same seams. So you would do the seam first. Yeah, it's all exactly the same with the hat. And then these little ear parts are fairly simple. It does have a little bit of curve that you follow, but it's similar to the head, so I just finished that part ahead of time. Okay, that is the head. The arm pieces, this one is very straightforward. It's just a little tricky because it's so small. And so I'm just going to show you how I did it, just to make it easier for you guys if you haven't done it yet. I do the top side first and then the bottom side. So put a little bit of glue on each of these, and again, you can use if you have a toothpick, you can use your toothpick kind of to spread out the glue so that it doesn't become all globby and goopy on your fingers. And this one, you just want to kind of wrap it around. And it should fit relatively close to the sides of this top and bottom piece. And it's difficult a little bit to maneuver because it is so small, but let me get closer. So each side, it should kind of fit, and you can just push it so that it lines up. Yeah, push it so that it lines up like that. And it's a good chance that it won't line up perfectly, and that's okay. If the side paper is too far in from the corner, you just want to push it this way, the paper, and it will bring the corner out to match it a little better. Then you want to glue the other side, and then you will notice that one of the sides has this little triangle tip at the end, so you want to put glue on that also. And do the same thing. I'm gonna wrap it around, and this little end here goes underneath here. It goes underneath here to close it up. Oh, make sure it gets all under. Yeah. And so you're gonna want to hold it here very carefully. And if you hold it right, it kind of lines up automatically. If you have really big fingers, you can use tweezers to kind of hold it for you, like this. it does make it easier if you have tweezers. And just hold it for a little bit to dry. And then on this top side, or the bottom side, this one it doesn't really have a top or bottom. You have all these little things. Now on the bottom side, it's easier because you can actually get inside to press it down if you need to, but this top side you're not able to get in. So you want to pull these up a little bit, not too much, but you want it to be angled up a little bit so that they're up a little bit so that as you close it, the top paper will touch the glue. If it's pressed down, you need to press up from the bottom, and you can't do that. So leave it up like that. Put glue on all of them. And try to get like a little sliver, like a little bit close to the edge. Globs like towards the inside or toward the inside of the triangle or outside of the triangle is fine, towards the tip, but try not to get too much a glob of glue near the line, but you do want a little bit close to the line because that's where it will hold it nice and neatly closed. Okay, and then you're going to put the top on, and you can push on the edges of the paper, the sides, push on the sides, and that will kind of shift the corners around so that you can match up the corners with the corners on the paper. Okay, don't squeeze too hard, but gently make sure that it's closed well, and then set that to dry. I'll do this one first. This one also, it's not that difficult because you have all the lines folded already. Everywhere there's an angle, there's already a crease. But this one also, because it's small, it's tricky. So for this one, I do one side and then the other. So I start with this side, the one with the little triangle, the heart, and then do the diamond side last. So with this, I'm going to put glue on these two. Just the two on this side and two on this side. You can do one at a time, like one flap at a time. I'm just putting glue on both. And you're going to hold it together here, the first flap, and then fold both the sides and line up the edge and hold it there. And the same thing on this side. Do the bottom one, hold it briefly, and then the top one, hold it briefly. And again, if you want to use your tweezers, you can use your tweezers to hold it while it dries. Just make sure you have the edges lined up properly when you hold it. Okay, and then you are going to do the same thing. You can fold this one back so you can get the glue in. And this one you can kind of bend down a little bit. And you're going to put a little glue on each of the flaps. Okay. And then you can close it, and it should match up pretty well because the other side is glued. Because this is still open, you can go use your tweezers or your fingers, make sure it's lined up, and press it closed. Press it together to make sure that it glues well. And then this top part, make sure it's up slightly, and add glue. And again, this one you can't press from the inside since it's the last part, so you're going to just very lightly, gently push it down and hold it there. And you can see mine has a bit of a gap. That's okay. It doesn't really make that much of a difference because it's going to get glued onto another part. So wherever you see a star, that's where it connects to another piece. So we're not going to see the side anyway. Okay, that is that. And then this one is similar to the head. This piece, it has a lot of angles, but this solid part isn't, it doesn't have any creases. So this heart, this flap, gets glued to this side, and then all of these other ones have to get glued to it as well, but there's no line, so you have to kind of roll it. You don't want to fold it, you want to roll it, and it's going to roll over and glue down this way. So what I find is do this first. Roll this paper and get it to kind of line up so that it looks like this first. So you get a little roll in the paper. And then once the paper is slightly bent like this already, it's easier to glue. So after you do that, glue this first flap down first. There's a lot of glue in that one. Oops. This one has a lot of glue, so I'm gonna move it down a little bit. Okay. Glue this down first, and if it is cut properly, it will line up. The edge of this corner will line up with the corner on that side. And when you glue, try to make sure to get this edge as close to the fold line as possible. That will minimize the white. When you fold it, you want to make sure that you fold it so that the white's not showing. That way when you glue it together, you don't get as much white showing as on the edge here. Okay, once that is pretty well glued down, then you're going to kind of hold it this way. So you're going to match the end of this side here. Okay, just to make sure that everything is right, and then you're going to put glue on all the other tabs. Are you in frame? Okay, I'm going to put glue on all these little tabs. Okay, and roll it over, and you're going to hold it in place. And if you match up this end here and hold this end here, the rest of it should kind of fall into place. But again, if it's not like here, you can see it's sticking out. If it's sticking out, push it in. Push it in and hold it. And if you push it in, it will kind of shift the other corners so that it all fits. And if you push this in and push this in, it'll push this corner up, and it'll, yeah. So everything is lined up, you see? Okay. Give that a minute to dry. And then we're going to do this. You make sure that these are kind of sticking up just slightly. And put the glue on these tabs. It's not hard, right? Not difficult to follow and do. Just a little tricky to maneuver. Okay, so now it's curved, and if I close it, see, it doesn't match, right? So what you do is you push where it's sticking out. You push the corners that are sticking out, and voila, it matches. You don't want to push here in the middle because there's nothing here. Push down right close to the edge where the fold is. And again, there's a good chance it's not going to fit perfectly, but as long as you get it pretty close, it's fine. If you push here and here to the two corners next to one, you get more of a sharp corner in the middle. If you need to do that, you can do that. And that will help you get like a really good fit. Okay, so this is the arm and hand. And then you just have to glue these together. So again, the glue, you want to put it close to the edge mostly, because the center is hollow. It's not, you can't push and make it stick in the middle. And it doesn't matter which side. However, there's one side that has the edge where we glued together, so I use that as a back side. And then you're going to glue this right onto it, right center it, like so. And just hold it in place for a little bit. And then this is the fist. It took me a while to figure that out. I couldn't figure out what it was, but it's the fist. So where the blue star is, I can put glue mostly along the edge. And this one, if you want to add a little bit more glue, that's okay. My glue's starting to get dried in the nozzle. Whoa. Okay. And then you want to put this also in the center down here like this. Okay. Just look at all sides and make sure that it's even and straight, equal distance relatively. Make sure that it looks okay. Okay, and then you just hold it there for a little bit so that the glue starts to dry. And you do that with the other one and you get 2 hands, 2 arms. Okay, and then the torso. I did the shirt. The shirt is very easy, straightforward. You fold it and then you glue it together. It's not hard, so I did that one. The body part goes underneath this shirt. And again, it's very much like the head, where there are more angles than there are folds. And so just like the head, you do the same thing. So I'm gonna start on one side and fold that and hold this corner. So this one has a fold, and so the edge of this corner should line up with that fold. Just hold it for a little bit. And then this one also has a fold, so when you glue that, it will line up with, the fold will line up with the corner. So the first 2 tabs are easy. Okay. First 2 tabs are really easy. And you hold that and let that dry. So even this video, with half of it already made, it's going to be kind of long. Okay, and then add glue to the rest of these. And you're going to do the same thing that we did with the head. So you're going to glue the first one and hold it a little bit. And there's no crease, even though there's an angle there. And so you're going to take it and you're just going to wrap the paper around and then hold it right there. If you're wrapping it around and all of a sudden the paper goes inside and there's like a big angle sticking out, push the paper this way. If you push it outward, it'll come out and meet the corner like that. You see it? It will come out and meet the corner. And then the last one, again, there's no crease here, so you have to kind of bend the paper and hold it. And when you're bending, if this corner disappears, you want to push the paper in this way to create a corner. And because this one is a small one, it helps to hold it with tweezers also. And just let it dry for a little bit. Okay. And then the other side, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put glue on all of them now, the bottom and the side. Okay, and stick this one under. And press down from the inside. Push it in to make sure that it lines up with the edge of the paper, as well as on the side here. Okay. Okay, and then you end up with this top part. And likewise with everything else, make sure that it's sticking up just a little bit. And put glue on all of these. Okay. And then we're going to close it. And again, if you just close it, it may not fit. Like, let me see. Can you see there's like a lip here? Okay, so to get rid of that, we're going to kind of push the sides a little bit. Oh, I think it started drying already. Okay. You have to kind of push the corners a little bit, and it will shift everything over so that you can see it has almost no lip now. A lot of it has disappeared. So push this corner a little bit more, and see, now the lip has disappeared. And press down on the edge, not the middle, because there's nothing to support it in the middle. Don't push the middle, press the edge very gently. Okay, and that's done. And the shirt will go right on top of here. Oh, this way. The shirt goes right on top of here, and that's how you get the torso. And lastly, the shoe. The shoe is fairly easy also, but again, it does require a little bit of curving. So I'm going to work on, should I do the top part first? It doesn't really matter. This is the sole. So I'm going to do the sole. Hold it in place. Go along here. And this is not creased, so you want to turn the paper, fold the paper over, line up the edge, and hold it. So it makes a curve instead of a fold. And when you do it, you want to make sure that the edge lines up here. Okay, and then the same with the other side. There we go. Okay, so the first little tab, hold it. And if you hold this side long enough to let it dry well, when you turn this, when you wrap this part around, it should make a nice corner. Okay. And if it's not all the way dry, it will move around and your corner isn't as sharp or as clean. I'm a little impatient, so I can't wait for it to dry. Okay, like that, and then you're going to glue these two tabs here as well as the side tab here. And that will come around here like this. You can hold that for a little bit, and then this one will close the side. And so you get the shape of the shoe. Okay, and then I'm going to do the side part. It's not really a side, it's like the top of the side. Ooh. That's where it comes up. Right. So glue that down and this around. Again, hold that. And you can still get your fingers inside because of this is open, so go in and hold it. Make sure it lines up well. Oh. There we go. Okay, and then the same thing with this side. There's like a little tab here, so make sure you get the glue on there. And then all along this long flap here. Line that up, put it together. Okay, and then lastly, you want to glue down the top. Okay. It may be better to do this top part first, in case things don't line up as perfectly. Then the not lining up will be visible on the bottom instead of the top, but that's all right. I did it this way. So you're going to push, because that's sticking out, right? And you're going to push this in a little bit. Okay. And hold it together. You're going to hold the edges together. Let it dry a bit. You can see this side got pushed in a little bit too much. I'll try to pull it out with my toothpick. There we go. Okay, so that's my shoe. And now I have all the pieces together. And we are going to glue them together. So this says, where it says the front, this is the legs. Okay, this is what it looks like. I didn't show you this part, but you just assemble the two and glue it together where it says to glue it, where the stars are. So it's pretty straightforward. So I didn't think I needed to show you guys. And for the shoes, this wide part is the front. This line is the sole. You're going to put glue where the star is, and you're going to match it to the star here relatively. So the way I glued my white one together is line up the back so that the back of the shoe and the pants are the same. And then the front comes out like this. So that's how I'm going to glue it together. This one again, the center is kind of hard to do. But I do put glue in the center, put a big glob of it in the center and some around the edge. Not all the way to the front, because I'm not sure how far to the front the shoe will come on the pants. So line it up back here, put it down, and I'm going to hold this back part. Put your finger here so that it leans against your finger, and then you can turn it forward and adjust the front like that. And then just double check the back again and hold it there until it dries, or until it starts to dry. And you have to be careful, because until it is dry, it will move around. Okay, and then the other shoe, I'm going to go around the edge and the back of it, up to the star, and then put a big glob in the middle. And again, line it up on the back to the edge. Put my finger here so I can like push it up against my finger. And then line up the front. Oh, I gotta move this one over a little bit. Will it move? Yeah, it'll move. This is why it's good. Glue is good. You can shift things around. I don't really like working with glue, but it does allow a little bit of shift time. Okay. And there we have his legs. The next is to glue his body right on here. And so, put some glue. Oh, now it's getting sticky. Hold on. Okay. Put a lot of glue. Right on there. I do put a lot because the center sinks in a little bit. And it's not, the edge doesn't match up to the edge. So if I put it on the edge, it's going to stick out a little bit. So I just put a whole glob in the middle. And then I place this on here. So it almost lines up, but not quite. So do this and then hold it in place for a bit. Let it dry. Okay, and then the arms go on the side. You're going to put it along the edge, this one. Okay. I might need more actually. And for this one, this top tip, the corner, the edge is going to go right in the center where the diamond is and right up to the edge of the torso. So it'll be centered and right at the top. You don't want to make it go over that because that's where the head will be. So right there, you're going to hold that and let it stick. So a lot of the time that is spent waiting for the glue to start to dry. Okay, the same thing, put it around the edge. Make sure the point is at the top of it. Okay, and that the arm is centered on the body. Okay, and hold it in place until it starts to dry. Okay. And then our head. The head is bigger than the neck part, right? So it covers like the whole neck part. So you can put the glue along the edge of the neck. Ugh, it's clogging up. That's the bad thing about this needle nose glue. If I have it open too much, it starts to clog up, which is why I kept putting the needle back in, but even with that it still clogs up. Okay, and then put the head on, and the head just kind of goes right on there, and the body goes in the middle. So there's a little bit of head in the back, a little bit of head in the front. Well, that's how I do it. I don't know. I guess you could move it all the way to the front if you wanted to, but that to me looks weird. So I place the body in the middle of the head and make sure that the sides are even. And the head I hold on to a little bit more because it just has more middle space. Okay. And then lastly is the hat. The hat you can just put on. You don't have to glue it on. You can just sort of put it on like that. But it does move around. So some glue for the hat. Ugh. Yeah, it doesn't want to come out now. Oh my gosh. I can't see. Okay, so I'm gonna put a big glob. Okay, and then place the hat on there. And the hat is slightly bigger than the head, so it does move around a little bit, but you can kind of move it to where you want it to be and hold it in place for a little bit. And there you go, you're done. I saw some people make really cute designs on the dolls. Some people did the Jack-in-the-Box scribble. On the black one they did white scribble, and on the white one they did black scribble, and it was really cute. I like it. So if you want to decorate it, I would recommend decorating it before you glue it together because having to write on this is going to be really difficult. So before you cut everything out, decorate it. You kind of need to know what part is what part to be able to do that. Yeah. So for the hat, you can just take a look at it. Like, you know, the flap side is the front. Like, this is the back. The shirt is easy. The pants might be a little hard to figure out which side is which. If you're going to paint it or use something that doesn't require a lot of pressure, you can do it after it's done. But if you're going to use a pen, you have to kind of press down. But if you want to write on it with pen, then I would recommend you do it before. You could do it after you cut everything out, so then you can kind of like shape it and figure out where it is, where everything is. But definitely you want to do it before you glue it. Okay, so those are my dolls. It's still a long video, but not as long as starting from scratch. Yeah, so I hope you guys make your dolls also and enjoy your little crafty time with them. It is a good way to be distracted and not think about things that might be worrying you. I really like these. I'm glad Hobi included these. They're very cute, fun to make. Okay, so that is that, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.